Hey, how's it going, everybody? David here from Hard Rock Reverie again. Nice to see you all. It's still pretty early. I'm doing the coffee thing. For all you enthusiastic alcoholics out there, please forgive me. I know, you feel betrayed. You thought beer was the only thing I drink. Sometimes I do too. Anyway, back again today to sort of do another unboxing video. The difference is, well, I've watched a bunch of these unboxing videos myself of certain albums that I've been interested in, box sets and things like that, you know, you don't already kind of know everything about because you bought them in 1980, whatever, and you've had them for years and you know exactly what came in them and what they sounded like and how it felt in your hands, you know, whatever. But like before I plop down a big fat juicy wad of bills on a box set, I want to know exactly what I'm getting. And so I'll go on YouTube and I'll search for them and I'll watch these videos for, I don't know, 2 or 5 or 10 or 20 minutes or an hour or whatever. And I'm like, well, you showed me you taking it out of the box and that's wonderful, but you didn't actually tell me anything about it. Like, I still don't know if I want it or not. I know what I'm looking at looks fun and appealing and everything, but you haven't told me what you thought of how it sounded. You haven't actually shown me tell me what's in it. Okay, so anyway, that's what I want to do today. And I'm going to do sort of as much as I can of a direct comparison between the original album and the new, to me anyway, box set that I recently purchased. And I have to say, spoilers right up front, I'm very happy about this purchase. And I'll explain exactly why as we go. Alright, so what is the album in question? Well, it's one that if you've been following the channel for a long time, you definitely know I had some very strong feelings about in the past. And I have done a review on it. You can go back and watch that. I'll put the link in the description below this video if you're interested. I made no bones about how I felt about this original album, you know, after all these years. Now, obviously, as you'll see in just a moment, it's one of my favorite bands. It's, you know, it's a period I look back on with great nostalgia and fondness because of the age I was at and the age these guys were at and the progression in their career. But after so many years, I wasn't like, I just find that I have a hard time listening to this album now. And I was hoping when I saw this box set was out there now that might help cure some of that problem. And I'm happy to say I think maybe it has. So the album in question, Motley Crue's Theater of Pain. Yeah, I got my Motley Crue shirt on today and everything. But anyway, this is my original vinyl pressing. I bought this like right after it came out. So I'm pretty sure it's a first pressing. Still got the ticket in it, and you know, I couldn't be happier about it and about the condition I've kept it in after all these years and stuff. I've got the inner sleeve and the merch thing and the my old Motley Crue Sin Club letter, which is hilarious. But anyway, the packaging, I loved the packaging when I got it. I mean, say what you will either way about their look in 1985, just like we would about Kiss or Dokken. But love or hate the look, you have to admit, when you got this album, you were like, man, they really spent some money on this thing. Like they put a lot into it. Anyway, so, but I've never loved the sound of this album. I've always been disappointed in the songs and the approach after two of my favorite albums in the history of the planet, Too Fast for Love and Shout at the Devil. This was a little hard to take. Sorry about the glare there. So anyway, I guess that means I recently got this big old box set of Theater of Pain, which I have to say I am very impressed with. Now, one of the topics about these Motley Crue box sets that made me want to talk about this one is how mixed the reviews have sort of been between the different box sets that they've done. So far, we've got a Dr. Feelgood, like I think it's a 3-disc box set with a bunch of weird little inners. We've got this one. We've got the Shout at the Devil one, which has the album on colored vinyl, of course, and remixed. Well, it's not really remixed again. It's like the 2021 remix. And this is one of the things that bugs me about those reviews. They tell you, oh, it's a 2023 or 2025 remix or whatever it is, but it's not. There's only like a couple of things. The second full disc is the one that got that updated remix, and that's the demos and the unreleased material. The regular album is the same remix you got with your, what do they call it, aged cover, artificially distressed cover artwork on all those new ones that they put out a couple of years ago. And I didn't buy any of those because I want my own distress on my albums. Thank you very much. I thought that was honestly, and I love Motley Crue. I normally think they're geniuses about the decisions they make with their albums and their tours and stuff, but that was stupid. Who wants designed ringwear or the impression of ringwear on their album and little fake cracks and lines and stuff in your what? Just give me the remaster, please, or the remix or whatever. Oh my God, I don't understand that at all. As you can see, whatever you may think of the time I've been away from posting videos on my channel, it hasn't made me any kinder in my opinions. Well, what can you do? We are who we are. But anyway, I have only got this Theater of Pain box set. And that's not for lack of wanting more. I would love to have more. I would love to have one for the Girls, Girls, Girls album. I am dying to get a vinyl box set of the Too Fast for Love album. And like a real box set. There's got to be so much to pull from that they could stuff into one of those. Old photos, posters, whatever, and the bonus tracks. We've all heard the bonus tracks, but we haven't been given an official release with all of them. Anyway, that would be great. But the thing is, I didn't buy the Dr. Feelgood one because I'm not interested in any of that crap. I've got Dr. Feelgood, my original, bought it the day it came out, vinyl, and I've got the CD, and I've got the updated remix on the Music to Crash Your Car 2 CDs, and just like I do with everything else. And then I've got, that's plenty. I don't need any more Dr. Feelgood. I'm fine. I don't even want the bonus tracks or the unreleased material. I didn't like any of it. I don't, it's fine, whatever. So I didn't want to purchase that one. And the reviews for that one, in fairness, have been pretty bad. Like a lot of people that I've seen, there's been a couple of good ones that really loved it. But for the most part, what I've seen, people were like, why did I need this? I didn't need this. And that's kind of how I felt when I saw what was going to be in it. Now, I have to say, I feel exactly the same way about the Shout at the Devil box set, which is really a bummer for me because I'd love to have that one. I bought that thing, had it in my Amazon cart, and I literally purchased it 5 times. 5 times. And I went back and I canceled it right away each time because as soon as I clicked order now, I felt buyer's remorse immediately. Why? Well, not because I don't absolutely love the album. I do absolutely love the album. But because what came with it, I had no need for and no desire to put in my home anywhere. I don't need a bunch of pentagrams in my house. I just don't. And that's not to say I believe they're evil and they're going to have any ill effects on my family or anything. Why do I want that? I mean, I've seen them now. Okay, why do I need a fake wood, like burnt wood one to hang up or display somewhere? Why do I need the other two, which I guess were alternate covers for Shout the Devil, of the pentagram, different color schemes and stuff? Why do I need that? Why do I need a bag that's got a pentagram on it that has the little thing for the Ouija board? And speaking of which, why do I need a Ouija board? I don't need a Motley Crue Ouija board, for God's sake. I wouldn't have bought that crap. Oh, maybe I would have when I was 13 and 14 and 15 and I was just like all about the Motley Crue. I mean, really, I still am. But even then, I don't know that I would have wanted that crap. And then, you know what I wanted? What I really liked was the little 45 adapter for my turntable. But then on the reviews, I heard that it was like the 45 wouldn't fit on it. It was too big. Like they hadn't quite cut it down far enough. Anyway, I don't know. But like the album, I would have loved to have the album. I would have loved to have the extra LP that had the couple unreleased songs and the demos on it. Although I've heard all those, I'm not planning to listen to them again. Like I was curious, now I'm not curious anymore. It's all good. The 45s, that's really cool. Really cool that they've got those 45s in there. I've still got my old 45 from Smoking in the Boys' Room. And I'm glad I have it, but I'm not listening to it. Like, I just, and then, they've got the CD. I would have loved to have that upgraded remastered CD. That would have been great. And then the cassette is really cool. I do actually still have my old cassette deck, dual cassette deck from back in the day. I don't even have that thing hooked up to speakers because I just don't. I got rid of all my cassettes. What do I care? I mean, the cassette looked really awesome. If you've got a cassette player, if you want to play cassettes, I encourage you to find that. Seek that thing out because it was awesome. It's got the pentagram cover on the front instead of the picture that the record company insisted on, the 4 pictures. And cool. But anyway, to make a long story short, I didn't want almost anything that was in that box set. I would have been better off, for my money's worth, just ordering the updated, remastered album. And I don't want that. Why would I want that? Because I've got 5 gazillion remasters on that album from them already, and I've still got my original album that plays great. which I honestly, I've heard really good things about this remaster. Like the drums are a lot further forward in the mix, and even the bass sounds a lot better. And that's something that I value. But I can get that remaster anytime I want for like 20 or 30 bucks. I don't need to spend $100 or even $75 for a box set that I'm going to pull that out of, listen to, and then shove the rest in a closet somewhere because I don't want to look at it. Maybe it's just me. Now, that brings us to this. I purchased this right away when I saw it, and don't ask me how it took me so long to see it, but it did, or to seriously look at it, and I absolutely love this. But the reason I purchased it, they could have done with Shout at the Devil, Dr. Feelgood, any of these albums, and I would have purchased them as well if they had handled it like they handled this. What do I mean by that? Well, if you've looked to see what comes in this, you'll know already. And let me take the stuff out and show it off a little bit. That's what we're here for, after all. Okay, so anyway, here's the empty box. It's, it's the reimagined artwork, which I think is pretty cool. I always liked the faces. I didn't like the pink and orange and blah, blah, blah. And this has kind of been, I don't know what you'd say, maybe like bloodied up a little bit more. I like that. I do. It's still got the masks on it, but by comparison, again, let me show you. See how orange and pink and bright and happy and hey parents, buy your kids our album kind of look that is. All right, so the first thing you come to in the box is this book, which I would have killed to have a book like this for each album in each box set. That's what I wanted. That's part of what I wanted. So anyway, this book is pretty awesome. I just really started looking at it yesterday, and you've got, oh well, here's my thing that came on the back of the box that shows you what's in the box, and I'll just read it. Okay, let's see, Unity 5, so 40th Anniversary Deluxe Vinyl Set includes the original Theater of Pain studio album, newly remastered and featuring reimagined artwork, pressed on colored vinyl, which we'll talk about, double LP live album from a 1985 Westwood One radio broadcast in Long Beach, California, previously unreleased, pressed on colored vinyl, which we will definitely talk about. A single LP collection of rare Theater of Pain demos pressed on color vinyl, and a 76-page hardcover photo book featuring many never-before-published images from the Theater of Pain tour. Okay, and this whole thing came out in 2025, by the way. All right, so anyway, I'm keeping that in my book, along with the hype sticker. Yay. Which says basically all the same stuff. But anyway, now the book, you get stuff like this, and let's see, there's a image of a ticket. Here's some stuff from the recording studio. They show you, oh, and where was that? There's a some black and white photos in here of them on stage. Lots and lots of stage photos of everybody in the band, of course. A bunch of them for Tommy. And here's one of the black and white, which are really cool. I didn't get to see this tour, by the way, and I kind of wish I had. I didn't feel upset about not seeing the tour at that point. I didn't see the Shout tour either. I didn't see the Theater of Pain tour. I didn't see the Dr. Feelgood. I only saw the Girls, Girls, Girls tour with a bunch of my best friends, and we had a blast. It was a fun time. But anyway, this book is pretty cool. And I'm glad to have it. I really am. Oh, and they also show you stuff like, there's not a lot of this in here, but like studio notes where they show you how they set everything up on the board and when they recorded it, and like what thing took up what track and blah blah blah. Just really cool to see that kind of thing. And so anyway, the book is definitely of interest. That's the kind of stuff I miss about it being 2026 now. I can't go buy a circus or a hit parader that's got Motley Crue on the cover. You know what I mean? That sucks. That totally sucks. And I really wish I could. People might find out they could actually make money off people like me if they would still put out stuff like that. All right. So anyway, and then here's the actual album, which it's still got very much the same exact artwork up to a point. You can see it's still got the little ribbons floating around the masks there and everything. They've sort of adjusted the wording a little bit, and they've darkened it up and taken all that pink and orange out, like the glossy stuff, and flattened it up. The back looks like this with the songs. Now, inside we get that same inner sleeve that the original came with on the one side, and then a different colored, darker kind of lyric sheet on the back, and then the colored vinyl looks like that's side 2, and there's side 1. It's pretty awesome. It looks really good on the turntable, I have to say. It looks better on the turntable than it does on my camera, but it sounds better. It really, truly sounds better. I like the remix on this. Now, does that mean it sounds like Shout of the Devil now? No, it does not. And do I wish it did? Yes, I do. It's never going to sound like Shout of the Devil, and that's okay. They've done something to help it. That's the important thing. Taking out a little bit of that that overpowering mid that drove me nuts. And I don't know how to explain that to people who don't understand what that means, but the album sounded really fat, and to me at least, I associate sounds with colors, and I'm sure my colors are different than anybody else's who do that, but it sounded like the cover. It sounded a very overpowering, like fluorescent orange to me, and orange is not one of my favorite colors. That was not one of my favorite sounds on the old version. And like they deglossed the cover and made it a little flatter, they did the same thing with the album's overall soundscape to me. Like, the guitar sound is the same, but it's not. The drums sound crisper, the bass cuts through better. It's more separated a little bit, and I really like that. And Vince's vocals never sounded bad on this album. It's maybe a little better on this one, but anyway, I don't know what else to tell you. I just really like listening to it much better now. I do. And I'm really happy for that. Okay, so, sorry, I got to figure out how all this goes back in there. Yeah, like that. Okay. All right, and then what I really wanted when I bought this, the double live vinyl from the Theater of Pain tour. And you've seen the covers. Here's the inside cover, which I love how they did this. It's kind of like the inside of Shout at the Devil, the gatefold, where it's got each of them in their own little area there, but it's from, you know, on stage during the tour. And that's awesome. Okay, yeah, so I thought that was really cool. Wanted to show that off. Now this is Long Beach, California, November 27, 1985. And it says Westwood One show. I'm a little confused because let me talk about why. Okay, so I have this my God, son, sorry. Motley Crue Live Entertainment or Death. You'll probably never be able to read that, but anyway, I got this last year on a lark. It was like $10, and I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. I knew I didn't like it when I heard it back in the day. This came out in 99, or well, 2000 it says on here, but I'm pretty sure it was 99 the first time when I saw it on cassette. Anyway, whatever. But this show is supposedly from November 27th, 1985, Westwood One. And so that's 2 days apart. Now, I tried to compare just the song Looks That Kill, which is the album opener on both of these, to see if it's the same version. And I can't really be sure. They sound similar, but I think the similarities might be kind of, I don't know, superficial. Like Vince does that, hey, 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 after everything he says on both versions, kind of. And, you know, the guitar playing, I mean, I can't tell. Like these guys are, you get on these tours and you get kind of locked in and you're sort of get to where you're happy with something, so you try to keep it as close to that as you can. I don't know if it's exactly, I haven't had enough time to go through it like note by note and pick it apart. And I did try to do that before I got on here to film today, but sorry, I just could not figure out if it's legitimately the same or different. But in any case, there's only 2 tracks on that are listed from that date, November 27th, I believe it was. And so it's not like it's the whole recording or anything like that. Because if you've seen this before, then you know that at least half of this was stuff that was released way after that show was performed. But anyway, the point I wanted to make about this is I like listening to it. And you know, with Motley Crue, live recordings are kind of hit and miss. You don't know what you're going to get until you listen to it. And I did, and I thought they did a pretty good job. I thought it was a good performance. I don't know about anybody else, but with YouTube now, you can probably find several shows from that tour on there to watch and listen to. I have not tried. I have not done that. So I don't know, what that experience really is. But I thought this sounded really pretty good. Now, here is disc 1. I wanted to show you the rest of the packaging. There's Nikki and Mick. Very cool picture of Mick there. And then this colored vinyl, I have to say, I could be forgetting something else that I have in my collection possibly. But I have to say, I think this might be my favorite colored vinyl I've ever seen. just the way they did it. I just really like it. And I'm usually not a colored vinyl guy. I'm perfectly happy with black vinyl. I really don't care. It's just like back in the day, I used to collect comic books a little bit when I was in my 20s, and back in the early 90s, I would go buy, some Spider-Man books and stuff once in a while because we had a comic book store, and I was like, oh, that's different. Cool. But anyway, I just kind of got really worn out really fast by all the foil, die cut, blah, 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 special, 5 different covers for, give me the comic book, please. I just want the comic book. I just want the album. But this is just beautiful. I really like that. Now, what's fun is when you actually put it on your turntable, if you don't get up fairly close, it just looks like a black vinyl. Or maybe you have to have better lighting than I have in here. That could be the problem. But anyway, I just thought that was really cool looking. I absolutely love that. Anyway, and so obviously being on the Theater of Pain tour here, what you're getting is material from Theater of Pain, Shout at the Devil, and Too Fast for Love. And then, let's see, here is disc 2. And obviously on this one, you get a shot of Tommy and Vince and Tommy, whatever you want, And then here is disc 2. And I really just like I like the design of this. I just think it's really neat. I like looking at it, that's all. The colors and the way they are put together, I just think is pretty cool. So anyway, let's talk about the set list that they do actually have on this thing. You get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 songs from Shout at the Devil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 songs from Theater of Pain. And then let's see, from Too Fast for Love, you get Piece of Your Action and Live Wire. And that's it. What a disappointment that is. But I'm pretty happy with how evenly split it is between Shout and Theater of Pain. I think that was good. And then, of course, at the end, you also get Jailhouse Rock. Now, I have not heard that one yet to determine if that is in fact the same Jailhouse Rock we get on Girls, Girls, Girls. In fact, let me do that right now. Okay, well, that didn't take too long to determine. No, it is definitely not the same version that's on Girls, Girls, Girls. What's interesting about it, though, is at the beginning of the song, or just before the song starts, Vince announces to the crowd, this next song is going to be on our very next studio album. So make some fucking noise, stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely not the same recording. First, that as soon as the first verse starts, because Vince totally blows the vocal. He has no idea what the lyrics are, I think, at this point. Which is, I'm not slamming Vince in the slightest. I love Vince, but I'm just saying, he totally spaces out the lyric and just starts kind of mumbling. It's fun to listen to, actually. And then the guitar solo is also a little bit different. You can tell Mick's kind of doing the same thing, but he gets a couple of notes in there that are way different. Yeah, anyway, that's a little curiosity satisfied for me at least. Okay, and then anyway, that is really the star of the show here for me. That live 2-disc live concert is that's what made me, that and the book. I was like, yeah, okay, this is worth my money. I don't even remember what I paid for this. I don't think it was too awfully bad. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, so I got a coupon discount on this thing through Amazon. That's where I bought it. And I think it was like 30% off. So anyway, it was, well, kind of toward the, it was double digits, but, it wasn't $30, but it wasn't 100 either. Anyway, for that price, I was like, well, at least this one's got stuff in it that I want. Plus, I wanted the remaster, and I'm really happy that I got it. Now, this is the other piece. Motley Crue, the demos. This has, you've probably seen Home Sweet Home, Smoking in the Boys' Room, City Boy Blues, Another Home Sweet Home, which is an instrumental rough mix, Keep Your Eye on the Money, Tommy's drum piece from Cherokee Studios, which you may have heard before if you've got like Music to Crash Your Car to. I think it's on there. And then it's got the one other unreleased track is Hotter Than Hell, which then became Louder Than Hell for Theater of Pain. So anyway, I didn't care about any of that. I've heard all that stuff. Didn't need a bit of that. But, it being in there didn't upset me. It's funny going back and looking at all these photographs that they put on these things that they're suddenly putting out now, that I remember seeing those photo shoots, at least in the magazines back in the 80s, and I just love that. Alright, now here's the inner sleeve. It's got some more studio notes on it on both sides, which is really cool. I like those. And then another colored vinyl, which is kind of sick looking, I have to say. Looking at this, is sort of reminds me of seeing the original cover, how pink and orange and everything is all over it, and I just was like, what? Shouldn't that be like a Go-Go's album instead of Motley Crue? But anyway, it's pretty cool, and if you're into that sort of thing, great. You would think as a musician and songwriter I would be more interested in hearing demos. I'm really not. I'm also not really too interested, usually at least, in unreleased tracks, because I am of the opinion normally that the tracks that made the album were the ones that made the album for a very good reason, and the ones that didn't make the album didn't make the album for a very good reason. And that's usually just how I feel. So, do with that what you will. That's okay. Now I'll put all this back in there when I'm done. But so anyway, nobody told me half of that stuff when I watched these reviews on YouTube. I found out most of this when I got this thing, and that's why I wanted to do this video. Just to kind of let everybody know maybe some information you were curious about that I was curious about before I got it, too. And hopefully that helps. Now, I don't know what to tell you. At the end of the day, I haven't wanted to listen to Theater of Pain that much in 40 years almost. I mean, not really, but at least 35. And now I want to listen to Theater of Pain again. It didn't make the songs better or more like Too Fast for Love or Shout at the Devil or anything like that, but I definitely like it better. I like hearing it better. I appreciate the playing on it more than I did. And I mean, to me, that's worth a lot. You know what I mean? If they had done something similar with the other two box sets that I haven't purchased and don't plan to purchase yet or at all, I probably would have purchased at least one of them by now. So anyway, there you go. And if you're a Motley fan, I hope, or just a Theater of Pain fan or whatever, or a box set fan, I hope that this helps you in some way to make a more informed decision. All right. Take it easy, Yard Rockers. Talk to you later.